Please find your seats. The ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Good evening, writers and readers. Welcome to the 2025 PEN America Literary Awards. Please welcome the 3-time Grammy Award winner, Ulysses Owens Jr. Band, and Broadway's own Tony and Grammy Award-winning J. Harrison Ghee.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know the change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Said I go to the movies and I go downtown, but my friends keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. Oh, but all he does is wind up knocking me down on my knees. Oh, there were times that I thought I wouldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change will come. It's been a long time coming, but I know that a change is on the way. It's been a long time coming, but we're gonna write the change. We're gonna be the change. We're gonna fight for change. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Change is coming. Change will come, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. A change will come. Yes, it will. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? No, I think you feel better than that. How are you doing tonight? Yes, I'm so excited to be here. We were supposed to do this last year, but we're here now, and that's what matters, okay? I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce our host for this evening. She is a two-time Emmy Award-winning host and executive producer of the hit talk show Tamron Hall, a proud mother, a New York Times best-selling author, and now she's added children's book author to that list with her beautiful debut, Harlem Honey, The Adventures of a Curious Kid. Please give a warm welcome to the beautiful and talented Tamron Hall!
Wait a minute, don't leave this stage. First of all, you're leaving with my jacket and my heels. I'm a little offended, J. Harrison G, but let's give it up again for J. Harrison G and the Ulysses Owens Jr. Band. What a way to start this evening. Thank you so much. And I am not kidding about my shoes. When someone steals your look, is that plagiarizing? Is it count? You're plagiarizing my look. All right. Thank you again. Thank you again. Good evening. And welcome to the PEN America Literary Award. It is truly wonderful to be here with all of you tonight, surrounded by our vibrant literary community. We are joined by writers and readers, award finalists, and Lifetime Achievement honorees, and the amazing grant recipients featured in our program. Give it up. In the room, we have editors and publishers, literary agents, artists, families, and friends. This room is filled with the people who bring literature to life, and it is such a joy to be here with you this evening, even though I left my readers in the car. And I'm going to try to read. I am, though, truly humbled to be this year's host and would like to take a moment, in all seriousness, to thank the person who helped me write this speech that I cannot read without my readers. Thank you, ChatGPT. One more time. Thank you, ChatGPT. That's why you didn't laugh, because it was a terrible speech written by ChatGPT. PEN America champions the freedom to write, recognizing the power of the word to transform the world. For over 100 years, the PEN America's mission has been simple but powerful: defend and celebrate free expression. And we celebrate that mission together tonight. The fight for free expression never ceases. It is always, as we know, under attack. And in these times, in this past year especially, schools and libraries have become the battleground in the fight for democracy, a fight for the freedom to read. I pause from my cards to say that that line means so much to me. My grandfather was born in 1901, a sharecropper. He lived until he was 85. He signed his name with an X because he could not read. But yet here I am amongst the greatest in our community. And I make my living with words that my grandfather, Lewis Mitchell Sr., could not read. So I am honored, so sincerely honored, as a kid from Luling, Texas. Google it. Population, me, my mom, and my pawpaw. It is not lost on me, the battle. PEN America would like to thank the courageous teachers and librarians who are out there fighting for their students every day. This weekend, I was in Mount Vernon, money-earning Mount Vernon, if you love hip-hop, and I know you do. And a librarian came over to me at the public library where I had an opportunity to read Harlem Honey, and he said, "Ms. Hall, don't forget about the Black librarians. We are here fighting for the stories that we believe children should read." And as I And it so touched my heart. I told him I was going to mention him, Glenn, at this event. So when you're in Mount Vernon at the public library, look for my guy, because we're not going to forget a single librarian, and especially those who feel invisible in this world sometimes. Also, I'd like to thank the young people who are standing up for their rights in the face of campaigns to stifle their education, and for all the authors who have had their books banned. Thank you. The world sees your fight and stands with you. Please, let's give them a round of applause. We've been able, even though I host a talk show where we cook a little, laugh a little, and do all kinds of things a little, I was honored to host an entire hour of my daytime program dedicated to books that were banned. It was during COVID, it was virtual, but we had George M. Johnson as a guest on our show. And after that show aired, someone said, you know, we don't do this in daytime anymore. Daytime TV is not what it was in the 90s when these kinds of conversations. And I said, well, we just did today, and we will continue to do so. It's frankly shocking sometimes to see so many leaders advocate to ban certain pieces of literature they don't agree with, especially that one piece of literature, the Constitution. You may have heard of it. How ironic that some authors, well, getting the book thrown at them. But I have to tell you, many threats to free expression these days come from something deeper than government overreach. They come from people's growing disconnect from free speech as a personal value, and from perhaps our unwillingness to engage respectfully with those who we might disagree with. I had a writer tell me not long ago, partly, he believed, because of social media, this is the first time in history where people have enslaved their own minds, where we have put ourselves in the cage and locked ourselves into a position of being unwilling to open our minds. So each of us as individuals shares the responsibility, you might say, or I am saying. As hard as it may seem sometimes, we must commit to engagement, especially with those who are different from us. I happen to be from the great state of Texas, but I also live a few blocks away from where we are right now. Often I go home in the reddest part of the red state that I'm proud, by the way, to be from. And people don't know me from my talk show or MSNBC or even my books that I've written. But they know me from my show Deadline Crime, because they watch that a lot for some reason in Texas. But one day I was home and my mother said, come down, my lawn guy wants to say hi to you. My father was in the military for 30 years, and my mother is now a widow, and she's got a guy who comes by to cut her lawn. Come down and wave at him. I said, Mom, I don't have any makeup. He's not going to recognize me. He's going to think I'm a black boy. I did say that. She said, no, because he'll give me a discount next time. So I said, okay, let me wave so my mama can get a discount. She is a widower. So I leaned down to wave at the gentleman who my mother has hired to cut her lawn. He happens to be a white gentleman. My mother's black, so her lawn guy. You follow the story here. I look down. He has on a full camo outfit. You might describe as a pickup kind of guy. He has a flaming red hat on with a certain catchphrase, and he is blowing kisses at me. I love you, Tamra. On paper or in a book, no one would script that rom-com. But it happened. Because at some point, through this TV show or through my crime series, he perhaps believed, and maybe we do, have something in common that would require a respectful engagement, even if we most certainly disagree. So each of us, as I said, as individuals, share the responsibility As hard as it seems sometimes, we must commit to engagement, especially with those who are different from us, not just politically, by the way. Because right now, we can see it clearly. The space for civil discourse in our society is shrinking, and polarization is growing. And that's where PEN America comes in. They know, yes, feel free. That's why we're here. They know that literature and open and honest conversation are powerful tools. They provide a forum to cultivate empathy and build mutual understanding, strengthening the skills that make democratic citizenship possible. These things don't happen by accident. They need protection. They need nurturing. And that's exactly what PEN America is here to do, and why this work matters. And it absolutely does matter. But tonight, on this very special night in the most amazing city in the world, from a song or a play I once saw, it is all about the writers whose work was so exceptional, so groundbreaking, so heartbreaking, and so thought-provoking and profound. When you read a book that changes your life, reshapes your perspective, helps define who you are, it is a gift from the writer to us. And tonight, we celebrate the most outstanding voices in the literary world today, from debut authors to masters of their craft. We honor translators, playwrights, poets, essayists, and exceptional writers of fiction and nonfiction published in 2024. There are so many and so much to celebrate about the written word. Do not check the grammar on that sentence. It's a bad ad-lib. ChatGPT. Authors have been facing unique challenges today. Facebook's parent company, Meta, is under fire after it used more than 7 million pirated books to train its AI, which of course is unfair to the authors. The residual value of those 7 million books would have amounted to the grand total of $3.40 before tax. But tonight, it is going to be one for the history books. A PEN America Literary Award is the highest literary honor you can receive. This celebration has been described as the Oscars for books, and y'all look like you're coming to the Oscars. Let me see that outfit. Stand up, Snappy. Come on. I can actually see why they would want me to host, to be honest with you. I've always been told that I resemble Conan O'Brien. Bitch stole my look. I actually think the Oscars should be called the PEN America Literary Award for films. Don't you agree? I mean, with all due respect to the Academy, here's a sentence that I have never heard before. The movie was better than the book. Okay, let's get this show going. You've been so kind to laugh at the jokes written by that computer. But my heart, I assure you, could never be replaced by AI, and neither can the spirit of what we are here to do. So before we start giving out the awards, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the judges who have dedicated their time to read more than 1,800 submissions from publishers. Tonight, the PEN America Literary Award Program will disperse nearly $350,000 to this year's winners with the support of individual and family foundations, including tonight's signature sponsor, the JKW Foundation. So let's give it up. So as I said, I am your host. I am not going anywhere, but I am sliding off to the side. Let's hear from the writers now in their own words. Take a look.
PEN America would not exist without you as writers, readers, and creatives. We have the power to reclaim the narratives. Words matter, but so do actions.
I'm interested in the word justice. I'm fascinated by the word race. I want to know why some people's afflictions are felt to be significant, while others are invisible, and what language has to do with that hierarchy of attention and care.
The enemies of equality, the enemies of freedom, have always recognized that the first thing you attack when you want to strip people of their rights is the imagination.
I thought maybe if I imagined a world a little bit worse than ours, maybe collectively we can imagine a world that's much better.
I think stories can tell truths. I think stories can illuminate things that histories can't tell us.
There's always never enough storytelling.
And as a storyteller, I proudly will take up space, dream all possibilities, and share it with the world.
That there is nothing recreational about what we do. There are so many people looking for ways to tell their stories.
My book is an attempt to decolonize time.
Literature is not an answer, only a window, really. Like it's perhaps the ability to see.
The place for literature is built by writers and readers. It's a fragile place in some ways, but an indestructible one. When it's broken, we rebuild it because we need shelter.
There is a necessary connection between love of literature and a support for a culture where freedom to imagine and to write is held as a paramount value, and that is what we are about at PEN America.
Please welcome interim co-CEO and Chief Program Officer of Literary Programming, Clarice Rosas Sharif.
Good evening. Good evening. It's hard to come after Tamron, isn't it? I'm typically the behind-the-scene kind of person. But here I am, and I wanted to thank you all for coming. Thank you, Tamron, for such wonderful remarks. It's an honor to be here tonight at the 2025 PEN America Literary Awards. The ceremony is a powerful and joyous opportunity to come together, celebrate the stories that shape us. The Literary Awards embody the mission that both ignites and unites us at PEN America. Our mandate is to uplift all writers across backgrounds, genres, and forms. Writers who experiment boldly and writers who speak truth to power. Our nominees this year are all exceptional and absolutely deserving of recognition and celebration for their outstanding work. And before we celebrate our honorees tonight, I want to acknowledge what happened last year. We canceled the ceremony after some writers withdrew their nominations as a form of protest. It was a loss that we feel deeply. And this is why it means so much to me, so much to PEN America, and so much for all of us to have last year's honorees and judges here with us this evening. Your work, your voices, and your presence here tonight in this gathering is essential, and we thank you. And you'll hear this a lot tonight. We truly believe at PEN America that writers bring our mission to life. Writing is our resistance, writing is our refuge, and it is also our joy. We are committed to being a place where every voice matters and stories have the freedom to take flight. So I look around this room, and I know for sure that this community gives me strength. Moments like this remind me why we defend and celebrate free expression, creative expression, and uplift the truth tellers, the visionaries, and the ones who imagine what's possible. So thank you again for being here, and now let's begin with our awards show. Thank you. So please welcome New York Times best-selling author of 2 Nights in Lisbon and the upcoming novel, The Doorman, Chris Pavoni.
It's an honor to be here with all of you and my reading glasses to support the incredible authors and translators among us. This room is filled with people who've brought us moments of much-needed clarity, insight, and poetry. The PEN Jacqueline Bograd Weld Award for Biography recognizes exceptional literary, narrative, and artistic merit in works that combine rigorous research with the art of storytelling. Diving into archives, reading letters, conducting interviews, visiting rooms where the subject worked, lived, and loved. From this relentless search for truth, the biographer conjures the intimate interior of a life. Among our 5 finalists tonight, we have the profound accounts of a glamorous trans icon of Warhol's factory whose very existence was at the time radical. One of baseball's most relentless competitors whose tragic flaws mirrored America's love for its fallen heroes. An exploration of freedom's fragile promise, tracing how exile, memory, and resistance shape who we are. A sweeping portrait of a man who turned optimism into a political weapon and myth into personal armor. And finally, a full reclamation of the legacy of 5 pioneering Black ballerinas and their 50-year sisterhood. Here are our finalists.
Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose in the Last Glory Days of Baseball. Keith O'Brien. Reagan, His Life and Legend. Max Boot. Candy Darling, Dreamer, Icon, Superstar. Cynthia Carr. The Swans of Harlem. Karen Volby. We Are Free to Change the World. Lindsay Stonebridge.
And the winner of the PEN Jacqueline Bograd Weld Award for Biography is Keith O'Brien for Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose, and The Last Glory Days of Baseball.
Wow, I did not expect to be here tonight, and I really didn't want to be going first. You know, everybody in this room knows how hard it is to do this work. Every day I wake up wondering how I'm going to do this work, and it's only getting harder as we know. But I am inspired by the power in this room, and I use that word intentionally. I am inspired by the power in this room. And I am also inspired by the people in the fight. So I want to thank here tonight all the reporters and the writers that are on the ramparts of our democracy right now. I want to thank the librarians. I want to thank the librarians who are in the trenches tomorrow and next week and the week after that. I want to thank the teachers who tonight are building lesson plans built on fact in a time when we seem to treasure lies. And I want to thank PEN America for defending all of those voices. And I want to thank those who have defended me. I need to thank my agent, Richard Abate from 3 Arts, my editor, Maria Goldberg, my entire group of supporters at Pantheon, Lisa Kwan, Michiko Clark, Denise Oswald, my former publisher, Lisa Lucas. I want to thank those who read this book over my shoulder, my good friends Andrew Bauer and Jim Tobin, my wife who sacrifices with me, Eva, my boys, Mac and Cal, my parents who are trying to watch this here tonight, but they thought it was on television, so we'll see. And lastly, I want to thank my friends. You know, I'm not a bow tie guy typically. This is not who I am. This tie belonged to my good friend, Mark Price. Mark Price died all too young last summer of cancer. His wife gifted this to me, and I am dedicating this award to him. Thank you so much.
Of all the categories honored here tonight, perhaps none is as familiar a challenge as the personal essay. Who among us did not start writing essays in grade school? But from its humble and possibly traumatic origins in the college application, the Penn Diamondstein Spielvogel Award, made possible by the generosity of Barbara Lee Diamondstein and Carl Spielvogel, celebrates the essay as one of the most intensely personal and highly esteemed art forms. Past awardees include philosophers, naturalists, scientists, and cultural critics like James Wolcott, Margaret Renkel, and Ta-Nehisi Coates. This year's finalists testify to the limitless potential of the essay, to explore memory, mortality, and mystery stitched into the natural world, to capture the spirit of a changing American West with grit and heart, to reflect on the quiet pleasures of a lifetime's devotion to film and art, to invite readers into dazzling cosmos where wisdom and whimsy collide, and finally, with humor, to grapple with identity, family, and the complexities of American life. Here are the finalists for the Penn Diamondstein Spielvogel Award.
Sing by the Burying Ground, Marianne Baruch. A Passing West, Dagoberto Gilba. The Salt of the Universe, Amy Leach. My Affair with Art House Cinema, Philip Lope. Magically Black and Other Essays, Gerald Walker.
And the winner of the Penn Diamondstein Spielvogel Award for the Art of the Essay goes to Dagoberto Gilba for Passing West.
I got a fan. You know, I wanted to go up the center stairs because I like to fall and stumble because I want sympathy. Let me get my, I want to say that I'm pretty sure that the judges screwed up because I am not supposed to win. You know, I represent what is the rejected, what is rejected the most. My community, I'm unimportant, our culture is unimportant, we're nobody. Nobody cares about my books, our books. That's who we are. And it took me a little while, but I did get used to it. And my essays, which I'm grateful to the University of New Mexico Press, and I want to point out I have another book that was published at the very moment, plug. New Testaments, not by a New York publisher, but City Lights Bookstore, which is the Notre Dame of bookstores in the Americas. And my stories, let me see what my brilliant notes told me to say if it was a miracle that I would win. My stories are of the American Southwest, which nobody cares about and nobody reads about. And we're part of the Mexican invasion. Even though we're not really Mexicans, we're not Mexicanos, we're Chicanos, and we've been here for a while, like 200 years. And it's also especially awkward when our president wants us to go back home as quickly as possible. But that said, I want to say that I am really grateful to PEN America and to the judges who I hope don't get their asses kicked for picking me. And that's it. Thank you very, very much. Okay.
The PEN Jean Stein Book Award recognizes a book-length work of any genre for its originality and enduring influence. As someone who was passionate about bold artistic expression in many mediums, author, oral historian, and editor Jean Stein discovered and responded to literature across genres. So each year, the judges are asked to consider poetry, fiction, essay, and memoir, as well as works that may exist somewhere in the spaces between and beyond these categories. This year's genre-defying nominees ask us to consider the human experience of solitude, self-determination, and identity. With My Back to the World by Victoria Chang gives us a collection of poetry that blends experimental forms to explore sadness. Inspired by the works of artist Agnes Martin, each poem responds to one of Martin's paintings, using them as a lens to examine personal and collective experiences. Timothy Snyder's On Freedom dives into the nature of freedom, re-examining and challenging conventional understandings, part memoir, part meditation, and part manifesto. On Freedom proposed a more nuanced view of the topic through a series of 100 vignettes, each offering insights into unique aspects of freedom, what it is, and why it is our only chance for survival. And Dead in Long Beach by Vanita Blackburn is a debut novel that follows Coral, a graphic novelist who discovers her brother Jay's suicide and begins responding to his text messages as if she were him. This act of impersonation leads her into a surreal journey where the boundaries between reality and fiction blur and asks us the question, is there a wrong or right way to grieve? Throughout the ceremony, we will spotlight each of the finalists. Let's take a look at our first.
Sunset in Long Beach is a dozen shades of pink. We've assigned some of us to count the shades, the changing hues from day to day, when there are clouds and when there are none. It is less calming than war to live in the space between day and night. Coral missed the sunset while at the hospital. The business of death changes time.
Please welcome writer and curator of international literature for City of Asylum, Pittsburgh, Anderson Tepper.
Good evening. I'm Anderson Tepper, and along with the other members of the jury, Rebecca Mackay, Hector Tobar, and Tochi Onyebuchi, it is a pleasure to announce the PEN Nabokov Award for International Literature. Vladimir Nabokov's legacy lies in his dedication to literature as both a pursuit of profound truth and a source of pleasure. His commitment to engaging with works of genius not merely through the intellect, but through the telltale tingle of the spine. We believe that the work of Mia Couto elicits this response and much, much more. It courses through the spine and blood and heart. It is created with a soulful mastery and sense of wonder. It reimagines worlds and reshapes the Portuguese language. It is tuned to the great mysteries of existence. Where do we belong? What lines are drawn in the sands of time? As revealed by the inner and outer landscapes of his Mozambican homeland. It is a literature of history and memory, dreamscapes and ancient wisdom, steeped in his country's violent past, the clashes between African empires and Portuguese colonizers, the struggle for independence that finally came in the mid-1970s, and the long, dark shadow of civil war that followed. His work has accompanied his young country on its fraught journey. We are building myths, Couto has said of his fellow Mozambican writers. We are substitutes for the prophets. His titles alone, resonant and prophetic, speak volumes. Voices Made Night, Sleepwalking Land, A River Called Time, The Tuner of Silences, The Drinker of Horizons. In his most recent work, the epic Sands of the Emperor trilogy, Imani, a Vachapi tribeswoman, serves as a translator for the Portuguese in 1890s Mozambique. I spin a web that joins the different races, she says. Couto, too, is an alchemist of languages and worlds. He's held us under his spell for decades now, each book a strange and magical revelation. It was the publication of The Tuner of Silences, in fact, that last brought him to New York over a decade ago. We were to do a conversation at a bookstore in Brooklyn, and we met outside his hotel in the West 20s in the Garden District. Before our event, we had decided to go together to see Eduardo Galeano, author of the classic Memory of Fire trilogy and a favorite of both of ours, who, as it turned out, was doing a PEN World Voices event a few blocks away at the New School. It was a memorable night, to say the least. I couldn't believe my luck. How was it possible that I was sitting with Mia Couto in New York watching Eduardo Galeano? Could it be just a dream? At the end of the evening, as we parted ways on the subway, the doors closing between us, Mia turned back to me and silently tapped his chest in goodbye. It is a gesture that has stayed with me. And tonight, it's my turn to tap my chest in return in deep, heartfelt appreciation and gratitude for the wondrous gift of your books. Speak Memory, Nabokov's incantatory title, could describe your work as well. We are so glad, so touched that you've spoken. We're listening. Thank you. Please welcome this year's honoree for the PEN Nabokov Award for International Literature, Mia Couto.
Well, I must read. Unfortunately, I have my readers. I'm very happy and honored to receive this literary award, but I have other reasons to celebrate this moment. I'm here also because I'm part of a common struggle, the struggle to ensure that writers should be free and without fear to do their work. This battle is happening all the time, everywhere. Nations are not big or small. America doesn't need to become a great nation. America has always been a great nation. And it has been a great nation because artists were fighting against what could have made Americans small. They fought against the genocide of Native people, against slavery, against racism, and against the use of violence inside and outside America. The voice of these artists has been an inspiration throughout the world, including my own country, Mozambique. I was very young when my father brought to our houses the voices of Paul Robeson, Mahalia Jackson, Nina Simone, Woody Guthrie, Peter Seeger. And he brought books of Walt Whitman, John Steinbeck, William Faulkner, Ernest Hemingway, Toni Morrison, and so many others. Nowadays, the books of these writers are in danger to be canceled in their own country. So thank you, PEN America, for bringing from Mozambique someone who shares the same fight for the world without fear, a world that can be the home for all humanity. Thank you so much.
Please welcome winner of the 2024 PEN Ralph Manheim Lifetime Award for Translation and author of the upcoming Unfaithful, a translator's memoir, Susan Jill Levine.
Well, I always dreamt I was going to be in the Oscars, and I'm really happy to be here. So, I mean, I know it's in a different place, but, you know. Okay. It's an honor to be here, really, this evening, to celebrate the remarkable achievements of translators across prose and poetry, and to champion the art of literary translation from early and mid-career. And of course, especially sweet as a 2024 PEN Manheim Award translation honoree, and especially as a judge for this year's Translation Awards, which it was a great pleasure to do. The PEN Translation Prize holds a special place in PEN America's history. Established in 1963, it is the longest-running award offered by PEN America and is the first of its kind in the United States, dedicated solely to honoring literary translators. Thanks to Priscilla and Michael Henry Heim, dear friends of mine, the PEN Heim Translation Fund grants have been awarded to more than 200 projects since its inception in 2003. And as I said, especially rewarding, as they were both dear friends. Michael is no longer with us, but he's such a special guy. And Michael and I co-conspired, by the way, to introduce the study of translation to the University of California campuses. So, over the decades, the PEN Translation Prize has honored more than 100 translators who have brought literature from dozens of languages and genres into English. Their contributions have not only enriched our literary landscape, but have also fostered greater cross-cultural understanding and dialogue. In my memoir coming out this June, and I have to do a plug here, with Bloomsbury Academic, it has a provocative title, Unfaithful. I attempt to write the coming of age of a translator myself within the larger history of the Latin American literary boom and its aftermath. With extraordinary writers who became my friends and collaborators, from Manuel Puig and Guillermo Cabrera Infante to Luis Negron and Cristina Rivera Garza, the art really was not about to translate their words, but to truly embody their unique voices. As we rely more than ever on art and literature to transport us to other places, tonight's Translation Awards and Grants celebrate the vital role of translators as those who indeed embody language and culture. So let's take a moment to take a look at the art of translation.
are so used to hearing the cliche lost in translation, but we also need to think about what is gained in translation.
The PEN Translation Prize was first conferred in 1963, making it the longest-running award offered by PEN America.
Since then, over 150 translators across dozens of languages and genres have been awarded and recognized. To translate the voice and sensibility of a writer capturing life in another language is such a complex, nuanced endeavor. It is an art, and it is an act of deep listening. It requires one's full humility and humanity.
Every translation is an interpretation, but knowing the language is not enough. The language is challenged in the very positive sense of the word by a translation.
It is urgent during these times to recognize how much American culture is enriched by those who write from beyond our linguistic and geographical borders.
Once a work is translated into another language, it becomes part of that language's culture. Think of Chekhov's stories, translated by Constance Garnett at the end of the century. Where would we be without those translations? Would we have a Hemingway? Would we have a Raymond Carver? They are now part of our culture.
There is no absolutely original text. All is translation, because language itself is always a translation.
All right. My first blooper was to drop the card. Okay. From Spanish, Greek, Ukrainian, Polish, and Arabic, this year's finalists for the PEN Award for Poetry and Translation have brought great works of literature into English for all lovers of poetry. I dare to speak for my fellow judges to express how wonderful it was to discover some of these poets and translators, but also so challenging to make final decisions. So here are our finalists.
Homeland of Swarms, Lupita Ada Tucker. Chimera, Brian Sneeden. Lost in Living, Desvinia Orlovsky and Ali Kinsella. To the Letter, Mira Rosenthal. No One Will Know You Tomorrow, Kareem James Abu Zaid.
Well, the prize goes to Mira Rosenthal for her translation of To the Letter. Mira has changed since I last saw her, but
Hello, so I'm not Mira. Mira is in California. She is very thankful for this prize. And I'm Bartek Remisko. I'm curator of literature at the Polish Cultural Institute, New York. And we actually awarded Mira in Poland with similar prize for the best translation of Polish prose and poetry in the last year. So Poland, America overlaps. We have the same judgment, and Mira is a wonderful translator, and with Tomasz Różycki, she did a wonderful work translating his poetry, which is very Polish, into American English, which is a really great work of translation of art. And thank you for that on behalf of Mira. Thanks.
okay. Now, okay, so now we're going to announce the PEN Translation Prize winner, and the winner of this year's PEN Translation Prize is I know this is very suspenseful, but okay. Oh yeah. That's okay. We're gonna. Oh.
We're going a little too far. That's okay.
I went, oh.
We're a little too far. That's okay.
I went a little. I know I do this. I know I do this. Okay.
It's okay.
This,
No,
is,
we're
this is the one? Oh, no.
Read this first.
Okay. I read that now?
Read this now. And
Okay.
then this one in a second. And then we're going to go to the video again.
I know how to translate, but I'm not too sure I know how to read.
Yeah,
Okay.
So this one first and then say your
This year's PEN Translation Prize finalists translated a mysterious fantasy in Italian, a collection of intimate essays in Spanish, a horror story in Polish, an allegorical tale in French, and a reckoning with the inevitability of death in German, all with skill and sensitivity. Here are our finalists.
Verdigris, Brian Robert Moore. Planes Flying Over a Monster, Christina McSweeney and Philip K. Zimmerman. The Impasium, Antonia Lloyd Jones. Great Fear on the Mountain, Bill Johnston. The Book Against Death, Peter Filkins.
And the winner is Brian Robert Moore for Verdigris. He's not here, so I'm going to accept it on his behalf, and I'll see you later. Oh, no. Okay.
Please welcome the author of When I Was Puerto Rican and the national bestseller, Conquistadora Esmeralda Santiago.
Thank you. Very nice to see everyone looking gorgeous today. So, although I can't see you, but anyway, here I am. Where's my speech? Okay. First of all, I want to say buenas noches, because it's una buena noche. It is an honor to be here tonight. I wanted to give you a little bit of information about me. I came to the United States from Puerto Rico when I was 13 years old. To learn English, I went to the children's book section of the public library in search of the alphabet and illustrated books connecting a foreign language to familiar images. I became a writer because I was a reader, and decades later, wrote about my experiences in my first memoir, When I Was Puerto Rican. When I suffered a stroke in 2008, I had to relearn how to read and write in 2 languages and recalled, I've done this before, and I can do it again. In 2011, I finished Conquistadora, my second novel, but my first after my stroke. Since then, I've also written Las Madres, about how a family of Puerto Rican women survived Hurricane Maria and its aftermath. I share this with you because the books I'll be introducing are also about struggle, triumph, and strength of character. Tonight, I'm thrilled to join you in celebration of the PEN Hemingway Award for Debut Novel, made possible by the Hemingway Foundation and Society that honors a writer's first published novel and was founded in 1976 by Mary Hemingway, the widow of Ernest Hemingway. The finalists for the PEN Hemingway Award for Debut Novel take us on adventures through emotional depth and complexity. They offer us a poignant confession of recovering addict as he navigates the early days of sobriety in small-town Texas, a soul-crunching California chronicle of grief and surreal memory, a dignified and humane portrayal of a young Nigerian man as he embarks on a trans-Saharan migration, a thrilling love story set in Soviet-controlled Poland, and a fresh and unflinching take on the campus novel set amongst the Harvard elite. I loved reading them all. Here are our finalists.
Early Sobrieties, Michael Diegler. Dead in Long Beach, California, Venita Blackburn. The Road to the Salt Sea, Samuel Kolawole. Controlled Conversations, Carol Lagotsky.
all fabulous. Run home and get all these books. They're great. And the person who gets the award today, who wins, is Michael Diegler for Early Sobriety.
Believe it or not, I am not Michael Diegler. Sorry to disappoint. Michael is in California, and he sent his regards. I am his publicist, Rachel Small at Astor House. Michael says, "My deepest apologies for not being at the ceremony tonight. I am currently getting married in Los Angeles." I would like to thank the judges for what I can only imagine was a terrible amount of work, and to express what an immense honor it is to be included among such a talented group of debut novelists. I would also like to thank my team at Astor House, Ben Schrank, Rachel Small, Tiffany Gonzalez, Frankie DiGiovanni, my agent Samantha Shea, and especially my editor Deborah Gim, who rescued this manuscript from my hard drive after everyone else rejected it and turned it into a book. I can say without a doubt that this award is the second best thing to happen to me today. Thank you.
And the publication of Robert Bingham's debut short story collection, Pure Slaughter Value, heralded the arrival of a striking new literary voice, and the celebrated young writer went on to earn comparisons to John Cheever and Graham Greene. As the publisher of Open City, Bingham was a champion of young writers whose editorial instinct was second to none. His remarkable legacy lives on through the Penn Robert W. Bingham Prize for Debut Short Story Collection, which honors an exceptionally talented writer whose debut collection suggests great promise. This year's finalists search for what it means to be a grown-up in a dying world, explore the past to the present, to the future, and from the American Gulf South to the orbits of Jupiter. Journey through the identity, community, and belonging in the immigrant neighborhoods of Newark, New Jersey. Blend the strangeness and terror of magic with the strangeness and terror of being alive, and confront what it means to search for a connection far from home. They are profound, and it was a joy to discover them. Here are our finalists.
Sad Grown-Ups, Amy Stuber. The Man in the Banana Trees, Margaret Sheffer. I'll Give You a Reason, Anel Lopez. Softy, Megan Howe. Japa and Other Stories, Iaoma Nawachukwu.
And I am happy to announce that the winner is Amy Stuber for Sad Grown-Ups.
Did not expect this, and neither did my mom, as you could hear. I am not young. I'm 55. This is a debut book. Wow. I don't know what to say. I really did not think I would be up here. Thank you to Stillhouse Press, who I submitted books for 30 years, and Stillhouse and Rebecca Burke and Taylor Schaefer and Scott Berg all saw something in this, and so thank you to them. Thank you to small presses generally. Art is everything. Writing has saved me many times over. thank you to my mom, Penny, and my daughter, Edie, and my really dear friend, Maureen. They're all out there. And thanks to Penn for doing work this year around Palestine. And I don't know. I think my minute is up probably, but I just want to say, stop the genocide and free Palestine. Thank you.
The rope in my hands tugged the top of the bell, even as its clapper, hanging freely on the inside, remained still. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to remain at rest. The lip of the moving bell struck the clapper. The vibrating iron compressed nearby air, pushing out waves at the speed of sound. They reached the ears of everyone on the farm, and all knew what the sound meant: time to gather and eat. And, because our minds are more than survival guides, some of us thought of something else: freedom.
Please welcome National Book Foundation's 5 Under 35 honoree and author of the debut novel, Brother Alive, Zain Khalid.
Oh. Good evening. I guess that's the appropriate beginning remark. It is actually an honor to be here to represent two words that help shepherd the next generation of fiction writers. When I was at the beginning of my career, what I wanted more than anything was a sign, not necessarily of success, but of possibility. That it and I might last. So it is, again, an honor to stand here to announce an award that recognizing writers precisely at that moment. There's a great deal of power in the promise of writers starting to develop their dexterous and beguiling craft. They're beginning to understand what obsessions they carry, how far they're willing to go, and how far they might take us with them. In a field full of self-doubt and rejection, sometimes what makes the difference is simple affirmation. One of 2024's Penn Robert J. Dow's prize winners put it perfectly: sometimes all you need to know is that the thing you are doing is worth it and you're doing it well. I'm here to honor 12 emerging writers for their debut short stories published in a literary magazine. Named in honor of a passionate wood carver and artist, and established by his family foundation, the Penn Robert J. Dow Short Story Prize for Emerging Writers not only highlights the talent of these writers, but also underscores the transformative power of literary magazines, moving them forward as they continue to build their careers. While not all of our grant winners are here in the audience, I invite those who are with us tonight to stand for a round of applause. Let's take a moment to congratulate all 12 of this year's recipients. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go. We're gonna do another one. I believe this is another one. I have to do another one. I'm just letting you know. As an associate editor of The Drift, I've had the rare privilege of working on the editorial side of a literary magazine, where ideas take shape, voices emerge, and aesthetics evolve in real time. The work of an editor isn't simply to publish, it is to listen sharply to the moment and to imagine what might be ahead. To hold a vision while staying open to surprise. And to collaborate with writers writing the stories that shape, unfortunately and fortunately, our culture. This year's recipient of the Pen Noura Majid Award for magazine editing exemplifies that ethos. The work has not only published great writing, it has created a world around that writing, a space for experimentation, for deep cultural dialogue, and for voices that might otherwise remain on the margins. It is a privilege to honor the founding editor of Callaloo, a vital home for Black writers, artists, and scholars across the African diaspora. Charles H. Rowell didn't merely run a journal, he built a living community of art and intellect. Oh, I love that magazine. His influence will resonate well beyond this moment and will all be better for what it continues to aspire. It is my honor to present this award to Charles H. Rowell. So since Charles can't be with us this evening, please welcome Kyla Kuferstein-Torres. Hey, hell yeah. The executive editor of Callaloo to accept it on its behalf.
I am truly honored to be here tonight to accept this award on behalf of Dr. Charles Rowell. Thank you to the judges, especially Dina Nayeri, and Penn for this incredible recognition. I also want to give a thank you to Johns Hopkins University Press, who's been our long-standing publisher for more than 30 years. Callaloo started with Dr. Rowell's vision for Black literature, namely for the inclusion and promotion of Black Southern voices, voices like his own that had not been respected or included in the literary world. Quickly, his vision expanded, and Callaloo grew from providing a space for overlooked regional voice to fostering a conversation between writers and artists across the African diaspora and the world. This recognition of Dr. Rowell's work to champion voices that would go unheard or be silenced at this moment is an important reminder that as writers and editors, publishers and readers, our work is to keep the conversation open, to keep writing, keep speaking, keep reading, keep listening, keep promoting work that moves us beyond what we think we already know, work that challenges us to see the other as we see ourselves. May we stay committed, as Dr. Rowell has for almost 50 years, to standing up for this essential freedom. Thank you so much.
Please welcome researcher and author of Eve, How the Female Body Drove 200 Million Years of Human Evolution, Kat Bohannon.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to turn to my page. Good evening. It's an honor to be here celebrating literary nonfiction. Now, some think of literary nonfiction as the red-headed stepchild of poetry and journalism, a sort of grab bag of true things that don't fit anywhere else. But I'm fond of redheads. I have a little skin in the game. And to me, it's actually a genre of fantastic possibility, precisely because it requires research. And that constraint gets at the heart of human art. Constraints aren't barriers to creativity. They're what make art possible. About 15 years ago, I saw the great Bill T. Jones give one of his wonderful dance lectures here in New York. Now, if you don't know who he is, I mean, what are you even doing with your lives? Okay, he's one of the best American choreographers in the last century, and be honest, you're not that busy. Okay, get out, third space matters. Okay, now Bill was supposed to talk about why art and science aren't actually as separate as many of us think. So he gets on stage and he says, okay, if you ask me to compose a dance here on this open stage, I won't be able to do anything. But if you ask me to compose a dance in an 8-foot cube, suddenly I can begin. And he starts doing like beautiful things with his body that I will not try to replicate because I am not a good dancer. But the obvious point, is that constraints aren't what limit art. Constraints are what art is truly made of. We build these scaffolds of genre, of research, of reference. We build the frame within which the mind can then be truly free. I've done this in my own work, building computational experiments for my PhD at Columbia University. I've done it when I've written poems. I started as a poet, actually. I got an MFA in poetry. That was my 20s. I did it for research for my book, Eve, my first book, how the female body drove 200 million years of human evolution. It took 10 years. Granted, I was also doing a PhD on an unrelated subject and was pregnant a lot. Just like a whole lot, like I had a uterus-based hobby. So obviously I make really good life choices, but I wouldn't say that decade of research was a limitation. It was part of the process. In literary nonfiction, research is part of how we trace that 8-foot cube on our stage. It's wound into the practice of this art. And every one of the finalists in the 2 categories I'll present tonight use it not simply because of the ethics of truth claims, but because it's how we do what we do. The first category I'll present tonight is the Penn E.O. Wilson Literary Science Writing Award. I was a judge for that one. It's supported by the James and Kathy Stone Foundation and was founded in honor of scientist Dr. Edward O. Wilson, who famously said, "You teach me, I forget. You show me, I remember. You involve me, I understand." Dr. Wilson is sadly no longer with us, but his tremendous legacy lives on. Tonight we celebrate the highest literary excellence in the subject of physical or biological sciences. I don't know how biological sciences aren't physical, but you know what I mean. And the ability of these authors to cut through the clutter to passionately involve the reader. They challenge us to see that all history is environmental history. Games are more than just fun. The suffering of a woman's body has never been all in her head. Our everyday connections with deer, of all things, runs deeper than you know. And that the origins, I know, right? And the origins of Darwinism existed before Darwin himself. Here are our finalists.
The Burning Earth, A History, Sunil Amrith. Playing with Reality, How Games Have Shaped Our World, Kelly Clancy. All in Her Head, The Truth and Lies Early Medicine Taught Us About Women's Bodies and Why It Matters Today, Dr. Elizabeth Coleman. The Age of Deer, Trouble and Kinship with Our Wild Neighbors, Erica Hauser. Every Living Thing, The Great and Deadly Race to Know All Life, Jason Roberts.
Thank you. Loving the Art Deco thing they're doing up there. Okay, the winner for this category is Jason Roberts for Every Living Thing, The Great and Deadly Race to Know All Life. Get on up here.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to start by thanking some people, and then I'm going to thank every single person in this room, not individually, and then I'm going to thank an institution. But I'll probably start by explaining why. Books are, I don't have a speech composed, but this is just a thought I was thinking while looking at this and seeing how much work has gone into bits of lives, have gone into everyone's work. And I was realizing that, books are made out of ink and paper, but, those are just the physical components. Ink and paper also make computer instruction manuals. They also make crossword puzzles. They make lottery tickets. And what makes a book different from those is they're made out of time. It takes time to explore any subject, any topic. It takes time to discover it. It takes time to confront your confusion. It takes time to confront. Oh, there we go. Sorry. It takes time to confront your insecurities and indecisions. And because we don't live alone in time, every single one of these enterprises involves other lives. And so I'd like to start by thanking my agent, Michael Carlisle, who more years ago than I care to count, took the time to say, this should be a book. And I want to thank my editor, Andy Ward at Random House, who took the time to say, this should be one of my books. But more importantly, who said, it's not a book just yet. And will you please rethink that? Will you please redo that chapter? That sort of thing. And so that concept that I needed to take time, but also keep taking time, and sometimes have a timeout, was kind of important. And of course, on the personal level, I have to thank my beautiful and brilliant partner, Julia Scott, who took the time to talk me up and talk me down all through the process. So those are some of the people I want to thank. But I need to thank all of you, because when I say that a book is made out of time, it's also, they exist because we have an audience. And the audience are the people who think it's a sacred thing to take the time to read a book. And that is something that seems like it's a rare and rarer commodity. We talk about the attention economy, and we see that as more and more bifurcated. So the concept that you are celebrating, that you are taking the time in your life to actually devote yourself to reading a book, is itself an act of faith that needs to be reinforced. But most importantly, I want to thank an institution, and that institution is the institution that brings us all here today, and that is PEN America. And the reason why I say that is because on March 27th of this year, somebody in the White House that you may be familiar with released a presidential action, and it was entitled "Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History." And that person condemned the Smithsonian for their exhibits on display. And specifically, the statement said, and I quote, that the Smithsonian should be chastised, censored, for, quote, promotes the view that race is not a biological reality but a social construct, stating, quote, race is a human invention. Well, race is a human invention. Race is a social construct. And that's what a lot of my book is about. Thank you. And I read those words in the paper, and I realized that the only reason my book hasn't been banned is because they haven't gotten around to it. And if that does happen, I know who will have my back, who I will turn to, and that's PEN America. We are honored that you exist. We praise your existence, and I'm honored to have been a part of this. Thank you very much.
World's on fire, y'all. I'm gonna do another category. All right. To write nonfiction, it takes not just expansive, rigorous investigation to keep a reader engaged, but a very good sense of humor. Because humor, of course, is actually made of intimacy. Getting you to laugh lets you know you can belong here. It's that balance that John Kenneth Galbraith was famous for, and he'd probably tell you so himself. He's the one who famously said, modesty is a vastly overrated virtue. We hope that the 4 finalists for the PEN John Kenneth Galbraith Award for Nonfiction will not be modest then in their accomplishments, as each one has harnessed the power of meticulous research to boldly illuminate some of the most urgent, complex, and defining issues of our time. They take us from a definitive account of the decades-long relationship between the United States and Saddam Hussein, to a vivid and unflinching portrait of America's often brutal treatment of non-citizens, to a breathless true crime investigation into lives exploited by gangs and crushed by bureaucracy. And finally, an ode to the rebellion of a young woman who insists she will belong to her land, family, and faith on her own terms. Here are our finalists.
The Achilles Trap, Saddam Hussein, the CIA, and the Origins of America's Invasion of Iraq. Steve Cole. In the Shadow of Liberty, The Invisible History of Immigrant Detention in the United States. Anna Raquel Minion. The Rent Collectors, Exploitation, Murder, and Redemption in Immigrant LA. Jesse Katz. The Lucky Ones, a Memoir. Zara Chaudhry.
And the winner of the PEN John Kenneth Galbraith Award for Nonfiction is Anna Raquel Minion in The Shadow of Liberty, The Invisible History of Immigrant Detention in the United States.
Wow, I want to not be modest here, but this really is a surprise. Thank you so much. I want to thank the judges for all their work, and I want to say, when saying what an honor this is, that this is not my honor alone. I had the dream team. First, my partner, who is here. Second, the best agent anyone could ever imagine, Molly Atlas. And third, an editor who really helped me when I needed help, told me what needed to be changed, and helped me conceptualize the book. Ibrahim Ahmad, thank you so much. But above all, I want to thank all the people I interviewed for this book, people who were held behind bars because they were immigrants. This is a history of immigrant detention that really helps to shed light on the human story of immigrant detention. It is also one that shows that in the past, the government truly supported immigration detention, but then because of pressures from citizens, it had to turn away from that. We did it in the past, and we can do it again. Thank you.
Though they are no longer with us, their contributions to the literary community and their words continue on, alive on the page, in the stories they told. In their memory, with a special performance of Till There Was You, written by Meredith Wilson, please welcome back the Ulysses Owens Jr. Band, featuring acclaimed violinist Dr. Nicole Wright.
Please welcome the 2021 recipient of the Ruth Lilly Poetry Prize for Lifetime Achievement, Professor and Poet Patricia Smith.
Thank you very much. What an empowering place to be tonight, right? Isn't this wonderful? I am thrilled to be here this evening to present the Penn-Volkner Award for Poetry Collection. I am the daughter of a consummate storyteller. My father, Otis Douglas Smith, migrated from Arkansas to my sweet home, Chicago, and brought with him what I like to call the tradition of the back porch. Every evening, I'd settle at his feet while he spun tales sparked by some down south memory of those mop-headed boys singing on Ed Sullivan's show, or the continuing soap opera at the candy factory where both he and my mother worked. I lived for those stories. They taught me that the world never stopped moving and that there were so many other ways of seeing that world besides what I was learning or not learning in school, Chicago Public Schools. I knew that I wanted to find that type of way to write the world. But why poetry? It didn't start out that way. Imagine 50 poets at a Chicago blues club over the course of a winter afternoon. Let's go drink and laugh at the poets, I said, a not quite yet poet imagining many, many drinks and many, many odes to flowers growing through concrete. But no, in an event designed to bring together street or performance poets, and, for lack of a better term, academic poets, like we weren't all using language, my city's literary muscle was on full display, and there in a front row seat was Gwendolyn Brooks. Need I say more? I sought the stage, and for years, the Poetry Slam was my lifeline. And the key to my continued love of poetry was to bring that electricity with me to the page. I'm a poet, but like a novelist, an essayist, a playwright, I'm first and foremost a storyteller. Today, more than ever, we need to be about the business of speaking our stories aloud to one another. Poetry is putting those huge, glorious, sloppy stories in a tight, controlled space and having the story sing just as boisterously despite that restraint. Poetry is our second throat, another way to speak, to be heard, and to breathe. The finalists this year embody that ethos fully. From a stirring path-breaking tribute to Black Civil War freedom fighters, to a remarkable exploration on the significance of death, grief, and transition, to the lyrical and experimental investigation of the Black American Yard Show. These extraordinary collections remind us that there are no stories that a poet shouldn't dare to reach for. Here are our finalists.
Load in 9 times. Frank X. Walker. After Image, Jenny George. Yard Show, Janice N. Harrington.
You know what poets like best of all? Drum rolls. Yeah, yeah, yeah! And the winner is Frank X. Walker for Load in 9 times.
In 1863, 23,703 African-American men signed up for the Union Army to fight for freedom. In Kentucky, a red state, even redder than, 5,000 more self-emancipated left the state and joined the United States Colored Troops, making Kentucky the largest contributor of African-American soldiers to the entire Union effort. But even today, people still think that none of the bluegrass is black. So thank you, PEN America, for recognizing that even in a very red state, that there are black and brown boys and men reading and writing. I want to thank my family who's not here, my mother and father, my sister Wanda, Patrick and Keith, my family at home, Kumasi, 7, hopefully watching on live stream, if not sleep. My daughters, Ella and Nina, at college studying for final exams. My children who are now adults, who are with me in this room, who met me here tonight. Nikki and Devan, thank you. And my amazing wife and first editor, Shauna Morgan. I'll be home soon. Keep the pot warm. And thank you, Patricia Smith, for making space for words, for poetry of the highest level. We need words, we need poets, we need writers with fire, with this kind of commitment. And we can win this battle. Thank you.
Please welcome producer of Hell's Kitchen, now on Broadway, Mandy Hackett, and dramaturge and playwright Jesse Alec.
Hello, everyone. What a pleasure to be here tonight. In 1995, Laura Pels set up a charitable trust and became one of theater's guardian angels. She believed that the public was ready for the kind of theater that provides food for the soul, and miraculous things can be done with a little courage. The PEN Laura Pels International Foundation for Theater Award recognizes the career achievements of playwrights that have more than just a little courage, as evident in the works of previous winners, including Tanya Barfield, Larissa Fasthorse, and Susan Laurie Parks. Tonight, it is our privilege to recognize a writer that is as kind as she is thought-provoking, whose plays are challenging and explosive. She is disruptive, often hilarious, and speaks about the unspeakable. Tonight, we honor the wonderful Mona Mansour. Hi, Mona. I had the privilege of first encountering Mona's writing when reading applications for the 2009 Emerging Writers Group at the Public Theater. Now, every time I crack open a script, I am hoping for that play to be brilliant. When a play has a deep impact on me, when it really imprints itself onto me when I read it for the first time, I can remember exactly where I was when I read that script. And that is definitely the case with Mona's Urge for Going. We were pushing through submissions for the Emerging Writers Group, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I sat down on my couch in my office at the Public Theater, cracked open her script, and the magic happened. Before I knew it, I was mesmerized by her words on the page, completely and utterly absorbed by the story that Mona had woven together, shimmering with humanity and power. Her landscape encompassed personal, intimate storylines, as well as the devastating political realities of a Palestinian family confined to a refugee camp in Lebanon. I knew right then that I was in the presence of a major writer. Mona went on to join our writers group, and throughout the fellowship, she got to work on the prequel for Urge for Going, called The Hour of Feeling, which follows Adam and Abir, a young couple in love, deciding to leave Palestine for Lebanon as Adam pursues a prestigious fellowship in Wordsworth. With Adam's love of language and literature and Abir's love for him, they embark on a new life in a foreign country. As we worked together, I got to know Mona's fierce intellect and her kind, loving spirit firsthand. Always rigorous, always thoughtful, Mona forged ahead in expanding the world of her characters, illuminating the circumstances that led them to the premise of Urge for Going. As she shared her pages in group, we'd laugh together as I was often cast as the same character and read with particular aplomb. From here, Mona wrote a third play, The Vagrant, that offered an alternative reality to Urge for Going. Mona posed the question, what if Adam didn't return to Palestine and to his family when the war broke out, but rather stayed in London to pursue his true passion? With these three plays in front of us, three gems, Oscar Eustis and I, along with Jesse, who you'll hear from in just a bit, worked closely with Mona to think about how we could produce all three plays together. At the time, these were three full-length plays, and we would spend hours and hours sitting together talking about how could the plays be performed together, could we shape them down into one night's worth of performance, what order would the plays be performed in. We talked for hours and hours. We put together readings and workshops to experiment with different structures and possibilities. And then, with the brilliant Mark Wing-Davey on board as director and navigating through COVID, the trilogy was actually in rehearsal when COVID first hit. We produced all three plays together in 2022 in a triumphant, visionary experience that showcased everything that is Mona. Sensitive and fearless, bold and tender, beautiful contradictions in her writing that reflect the contradictions in history as well as in the refugee experience itself. Working with Mona is a dream, and I am thrilled to be here tonight.
Mandy, I couldn't agree more with everything that you said about Mona and what a dream she is to be around. And can you believe that there's been so many years since we were there at the Public? People ask me how long I've known someone these days, and honestly, I couldn't tell you. A few years, 15, it's anyone's guess. This is what it is to get old. To avoid this confusion, it can be useful to have signposts, mile markers, touchstones to remind oneself of how long you've actually known someone, why you know them, how you kept it going for so long. Thank God for theater. I first met Mona in 2009 as well, but our relationship started in earnest in 2011 during an early workshop of Urge for Going at the Public Theater. I was the assistant to Oscar Eustis, and I was a young and totally unimportant figure. Mona had a very specific question for Oscar about a very specific line of Wordsworth poetry. I remember her sprinting up the stairs from the theater that she was rehearsing in, an artist on a mission. She stopped at my desk first to say thank you for finding her the time and rushed into Oscar's office to muse with him. And that's how I remember her still. Mona is a writer who is easy to admire. She is very smart, a quick brain, a fast speaker, generous with her time, and discerning. Mona stands on firm ground. Mona is gentle. She thinks about how other people move in the world. Mona is a storyteller. She knows about structure and action. Mona is a writer, and she is wonderful to work with because she asks questions about her own writing. She collaborates, she works, she rewrites, and she examines her own work and does delicate surgery to it. Mona is easy to admire from afar, as one riding a train admires a mountain in the distance. And as the years went by, I didn't even realize that the mountain was getting closer and closer. This is also the nature of relationships. The closeness builds, a conversation about leaving your homeland, a conversation about being a first-generation American, talking about poetry, the simple beauty of language, getting drunk at an Irish pub in DC before a first preview, watching each other fall in love and get married, watching each other struggle and get divorced. And through it all, the conversation continues. It continues through rewrites, it continues through writer's block, it continues through lonely, endless days of a pandemic, text messages, Zoom poetry readings, masked walks in parks. We continue the relationship. All these things are part of a play, the story of my honor of being her dramaturg, the story of the art, but it is also the story of Mona and I. When I left the public in 2021, Mona wouldn't let me leave the project of her plays. As a dramaturg, it's easy and expected to become invisible. It's almost embarrassing when someone dares to point out to you in your nakedness and say to you, hey, you helped make this happen. But that is what Mona has done for over 10 years to me right now. She's continued to point to me and say, hey, you. Mona has insisted on continuing the relationship, and that has been the greatest gift that she has given to me. It's such an honor to be with her today and to see her receive this honor. Now, the three pieces that you'll see this evening are from Mona's powerful play, The Vagrant Trilogy, an epic told in 3 parts, as Mandy mentioned to you. It delves into the Palestinian struggle for home and identity. In part 1, Adam, a Palestinian Wordsworth scholar, travels to London in 1967 with his new wife, Abir, to deliver a lecture. When war breaks out at home, he must make a split-second decision, one that shapes the rest of his life. The following parts explore the alternate realities based on that choice, together painting a portrait of Palestinian displacement and the refugee's life of permanent impermanence. Finally, in part 3, Urge for Going, it's 2006, and Adam, residing in a Palestinian refugee camp, shares his story with his daughter, Jamila. Please welcome to the stage Raffi Barsoumian and Caitlin Nasema Cassidy.
No flinch, no fear. Hands still, hand still. Shirt. Pretend it's nice. Pretend it's dry. Remember why you're here. A proper gentleman, a scholar, on his way to do his work. Right at Exeter Street. Left at Wellington Street, Bow Street, Longacre, Endell Street, High Holborn, Shaftesbury Avenue, Gower Street, the Darwin Lecture Theater, University College. A clean towel. With letters, England's letters. Oh. Vain. Not bad. New shoes, clean shoes, tight on marble. Solid. History in this floor. Scholars buried here. This history. Scholars underneath. Learned men here. Shoes click above the great scholars, the poets, the poetry, and me walking past and through, and history, and honor, and great thoughts, and those that abide by language, its laws and its mandates, me above, moving through. Last breath, hands still. Folder, pants zipped, darkness, breath, last big breath, dust, old air, a small light on a table. How are you, sir? Do you have everything you need, sir? Glass of water for you, sir. Glass of water for the scholar, for the man, for me. No smile. No thanks, this is expected. This is how it goes. Stand still. Paper. Light. Light. Glasses. Hair. No one I know. Glasses. Hair. Easy breath. Easy. You know how to talk. No rolling R's, no attack. The British, the English, they don't attack the language. You know this. In England, the words are like water. One false sound and a man is exposed. We Arabs, our words are like hammers hitting nails. 1,000 breaths waiting for me, for this man, this scholar, ready to do the work of God. Adham al-Ahwani, November 1982. My paper on the ruined cottage for your consideration. The Ruined Cottage is Wordsworth's poem about loss and war and landscape. In it, the poet meets a vagrant, Armitage, who tells the story of a penniless woman, Margaret, the mother of 2 sons. My assertion is that Margaret is that today in the camps, so-and-so and so-and-so from family such and such died. And so-and-so also died. No one has names at that point. They just don't. The story of Margaret, formerly bright and industrious, who has lost both her sons. But is there something comforting about the word cottage in the title, possibly? It's ruined, but it still exists. It's not the disappeared cottage, is it? If there is no stable structure to hold the memories, where do they live? And in the camps, no one was buried because I'm not sure, they just weren't. And among those was a portly man, Hamzi al-Ahwani, who never distinguished himself except for having the loudest, smoker's cough of anyone. Among them, this man, Hamzi, my brother. Among them was him. And this is what remains of him. This ashtray. A bomb went off somewhere. Nothing special. No massacre for him. Just a bomb. A regular bomb. Nothing special about it. This is the thing that remains of him. This. So, England is taking great care. And there is great concern about terrorism coming to England. While there you have, in Lebanon, you have, in the Palestinian camps, you have constant terror, actually. It's constant. Bang. 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 Boom.
So you know, I made it. I got in.
I knew you would.
Were you just not going to say anything to me? The adjudicator said only 7% of all applicants get into the school.
Mm-hmm.
That's good, right?
Of course it's good. If you have to ask me that, you must not be ready. Someone ready to accept his fate doesn't need to ask anyone what's good.
She said my essay and oral exam scores were very high. My math leaves something to be desired.
Ah, yes.
I get that from you. You never liked math either. They can put me in a supplemental class for that, though. Math for the humanities majors. Did you know they do that? They want people to succeed.
You have one good day at a test and you think you know everything about the world.
Why did you come back?
The war happened. My mother was alone.
Did she tell you to come get her?
No.
Was she glad that you came?
No.
Why do you stay?
Your mother, our family. I can't leave here.
Couldn't you try?
I have no identification. You know this.
Who cares? I'm so sick of it.
We have to stay. In case we ever get the opportunity to go back.
What?
It could happen.
The chances of that happening are very low. You said that over and over.
But still.
I didn't think you believed it.
You failed to read this story properly then.
No, I didn't. You taught me how to analyze.
You think you're so great? Is that what you think? That you passed this one hurdle and now you're a great scholar?
I know it's going to be hard.
You have no idea.
You taught me to be rigorous, to hold my own in any academic setting. When I was little, you taught me these things. Mental fortitude, clarity of thought, preparation.
I went to the bathroom and cried.
When?
At the party in London after the lecture.
Did anyone know?
Of course not.
Why?
I don't know. I looked around at everyone. So light, smart, making connections between this piece of literature and this piece of art, talking about politics like it was a game. I think I knew this was the beginning and the end for me.
Tell me what you talked about in London.
No.
Just part of the lecture.
I don't even remember it.
Try.
Leave it alone.
Just part.
I'm old. I'm foolish. I've been made foolish. Leave me alone.
No.
The theories I talked about have been replaced by much more sophisticated thinking. They don't stand up.
So, I want to hear it. You discussed William Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey.
That's not the full title.
I know.
I hate when people choose to abbreviate, as if they can't be bothered to utter 20 words.
I know.
It's not even his best work.
He had left England for a long time and then came back.
Yes.
Tell me. Give me some of it.
And now, with gleams of half-extinguished thought, with many recognitions dim and faint, and somewhat of a sad perplexity, I've wasted it all.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No.
Yes.
Trust me, you haven't.
Trust me. I have.
Just say the rest of that first part. Please. The picture of the mind revives again. Not only, while here I stand, not only with a sense of
present pleasure, but with pleasing thoughts that in this moment there is life and food for future years. And so I dare to hope, though changed, no doubt, from what I was when first I came among these hills.
That was so beautiful. Thank you. We have to say it officially first, but don't go anywhere. Come right here. Come right here. And now, it is our enormous pleasure to present the 2025 Penn Laura Pels International Foundation for Theater Award to
Mona Mansour.
I'm gonna be so quick because A, it's late, and B, I hate speaking in public. I was an actor and I wasn't very good. But obviously there's something about being in this space that speaks to me and makes me feel more alive than anything else. Theater is a heartbreaking career, as many of you know about your own field. It's been very difficult to be an Arab American in theater for these last couple of years. It's been very difficult to be a person these last couple years. And I had this really great quote. Who is the poet? Carolyn Forche. And I didn't bring it with me. I don't know why I didn't. But it's about her, it's from her poem called The Return, where, do people know that one at all? Any Carolyn Forche fans? But basically, toward the end of the poem, her friend Josephine says, you're not returning to a land you never left. Like, you're not returning to some other place. This is where you've been. So there's so much that goes into being an American, into being like a halfie, and things you contend with, and some of them I had to think about in accepting this award. But like we're all saying, like, we have to keep speaking. We just have to keep speaking. And I'm so grateful to the Public Theater. Oscar, the word I asked you about was unremembered in Tintern Abbey. Jesse, Mandy, thank you guys so much. Theater, it does take so many people, and to these beautiful actors who've never done this together before, late in the night. Thank you all so much, and thank you, PEN America.
In every language, the heart can be in pain. But the heart doesn't feel pain. It is not a small mammal. Tears do not come from the heart. They do not come from the eyes or the body. They come from outside of us like time, from one large repository, which is why we cry when other people cry. In this way, tears are communal. We depend on each other for our sadness.
I hope you enjoyed these beautiful animations of our finalists for the PEN Stein Book Award. They're fabulous, and we love to pay homage to these wonderful writers, Timothy Snyder, Vanita Blackburn, and Victoria Chang. So this year, the Gene Stein Award is a bit different. That's why I'm here. Typically, we would be announcing the winner right now. Katrina and Wendy Vanden Heuvel from the JKW Foundation, our generous underwriter for the PEN Gene Stein Book Award, could not be here tonight. So I will be reading a statement from them about what we are doing this year. Here is their message in their own words. In 2016, our mother established the PEN Gene Stein Book Award to honor a work of any genre that not only exemplified literary excellence, but also embodied a spirit of boldness, a willingness to take risks in form and subject, and to take stands for strongly held beliefs. Citing their objection to PEN America's response to the genocide in Palestine, this year's winner, along with two other finalists have taken such stands and withdrawn from consideration after being named to the long and short list, and after the judges had determined who would receive the award. For similar reasons, 9 of the 10 long-listed writers withdrew last year, and there was no winner. While we are disappointed that circumstances would lead once again to the award not going to a writer, especially in a time when federal arts funding is getting slashed with respect, we, Katrina and Wendy, we respect the right of protest in all of its nonviolent forms, including this one. Our mother, a passionate supporter of Palestinian rights, as well as publisher of Palestinian writers and artists, would have respected this decision too. Still, we are disappointed, and to the matter at hand, after careful deliberation, we have decided to divide the $75,000 prize between 2 organizations: the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund in support of humanitarian aid for children living amid devastation and displacement, and Palestine Legal, a legal aid organization dedicated to protecting the civil and constitutional rights of people in the US who speak out for Palestinian freedom. Let me finish the statement. Just one more thing from them. In closing, we'd like to thank the judges for the many hours of reading and consideration, and the 3 finalists, Victoria Chang, Vanita Blackburn, and Timothy Snyder. We wish to thank the team at PEN America dedicated to coordinating and managing the award. We hope that next year there will be a named recipient and their deserving book to celebrate. So now, in my words, one sentence: thank you, Katrina, Wendy, and the Foundation for your statement and for your continued support of the PEN Gene Stein Book Award and of PEN America. So now, let's welcome back Tamron Hall for our last award. Thank you.
This is the final award of the evening, the PEN Open Book Award. It's conferred to an exceptional book-length work of any literary genre by an author of color. The award was created in 2002 by PEN America's Open Book Committee, a group committed to diversity within the literary and publishing communities. The PEN Open Book Award celebrates extraordinary works by authors of color and recognizes the exemplary publishers and small presses who often discover, nurture, and publish them. In addition to the $10,000 prize, the winner receives a fully funded artist residency at Civitella Ranieri, a 15th century castle in Italy. Something we all agree on. Fabulous. The works this year reflect a diverse range of voices and perspectives, each contributing to the rich tapestry of contemporary literature, with genres spanning from dystopian fiction, essay, nonfiction, and philosophy. These remarkable works explore themes of identity. We uncover how Black women have wielded fury as a form of resistance against systematic injustice in a compelling historical analysis. We explore Black freedom through imaginative storytelling, intertwining speculative fiction and philosophical discourse. We reclaim the pivotal role of Black women in liberation movements presented in a series of essays. And we delve into dystopian narrative, examining the intersections of identity, power, and survival in a reimagined world. Here are the finalists.
Vengeance Feminism, The Power of Black Women's Fury in Lawless Times, Callie Nicole Gross. The Dark Delight of Being Strange, Black Stories of Freedom, James B. Hale III. Black Women Taught Us, An Intimate History of Black Feminism, Jen M. Jackson. The Blueprint, Ray Gianna Rashad.
And the PEN Open Book Award goes to Callie Nicole Gross for Vengeance Feminism, The Power of Black Women's Fury in a Lawless Times.
God. Thank you. I'm sorry, folks. These shoes were the first in a series of bad decisions around what to wear tonight. Oh my God. Wow, I have to take a minute. So I had totally convinced myself that I was not winning. So I didn't actually prepare remarks. Then I got really inspired by everyone else's remarks. And so I started thinking about it, and then I got really into the program, and I forgot what I was thinking about. So I'm flying blind right now. First of all, I have to say thank you so much. I love you. You're amazing. You all have been phenomenal. Thank you so much. It's been awesome. So I need to thank God. I need to thank my late mother. I need to thank my family who's here with me tonight. Thank you guys. Samanthi, Joss, Warren. Also need to thank the sister scholars who sat with me and worked with me and read this book in some of its most deranged phases. I also need to thank my amazing, amazing agent, Tanya McKinnon, and also our press, Seal Press. Angie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And my editor, who's not here, Kyle, believed in the book, and then Brandon, who made it what it is. And I also must thank, of course, PEN America. Thank you so much for this night, for creating this space. And for the judges, thank you so much for recognizing the work of a writer like me, telling stories about Black women who, fussed and cussed, who slept around, got knocked up, and took control of their reproductive systems by any means necessary. Yeah, I'm going to clap for that. And also, women who fought and made a way for themselves in a moment where they existed as citizens in name only. I drew a lot of strength from their stories, because if those sisters could find a way through those moments, right, and their embodied practice managed to create a space and where they actually eked out victories for themselves, then we can get through what we're going through right now, right? We can get on the other side. It's not gonna be pretty. It doesn't work if you stay within the lines and be respectable. That's not gonna work for us right now. And that's the lesson I think that I learned from these women, and also from my late mother, who inspired me by sharing stories about her own illegal abortion that she had as a teenager, as well as her own experience of domestic violence and her decision finally to pull a knife on him and decide it was going to be him or her. So I want to dedicate this award to my late mother, Ju Maria Gross. Thank you all so much, and thank you for this amazing award. Thank you.
What an evening. Thank you all. Congratulations to all of those we've celebrated, and to the many that we may never meet in person, but we are rooting for as a collective body. Thank you all for this evening, and I believe you're gonna take it away. We're gonna have some more. Here we go.
Come on, it's time to celebrate. So if you feel like moving, if you feel like grooving, get out of your seat and dance. I am what I am. I am my own special creation. So come take a look, give me the hook or the ovation. It's my world that I wanna have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey world, I am what I am. I am what I am. Know your truth and live your truth. Work it out. I am what I am. I am what I am what I am. I don't want praise, I don't want pity. I bang my own drum. Some think it's noise, I think it's pretty. And so what if I love you, sparkle, and you spangle? Why not try to see things from a different angle? Your life is a sham till you can shout out loud, I am what I am. I am what I am. Never let them tell you who you ought to be, honey. What we are needs no excuses. We deal our own decks, sometimes the ace, sometimes the deuces. We face life, though it's sometimes sweet and sometimes bitter. Face life with a little guts and lots of glitter. Oh, life's not worth a damn till you can say, hey, what I am, what I
Well, that is how you do it. Good night, everyone. Good reading, and kick up your legs after that. Have a good one. Bye-bye.